Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast, where we discuss the latest and greatest news in the world of soccer, including the top games and competitions from all around the world and the hottest summer transfers. I'm Ben.
Hey, I'm Alex. What's up?
Oh, not much. We had a great summer of soccer. These two competitions we had with the Copa America and now the Euros ending, couldn't be happier with both of them.
I'm so sad it's over.
Dude, I know. We have the Olympics to look forward to, but it's
not the same.
It's not the same because a lot of the big-name guys are not going to be playing because their leagues are going to be starting up really about a month from now. The Premier League starts August 13th, so just a month from now. Well, a month and a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of the big-name guys are not going to be playing. I do know that Neymar and Douglas Costa are going to play for Brazil, though. So
at least somebody is.
So at least they are probably going to be heavy favorites. We'll have to look at the rosters. We'll break that down within the next couple of weeks before the Olympics get started. But yeah, so a lot of great news to talk about here today. Going to be mainly talking about the Euro 2016 tournament. We had our final on Sunday with Portugal and France. Portugal coming out on top 1-0 in extra time. Going to be breaking that down. We also got to break down some of these semifinal games because we did not talk about them. Unfortunately, Germany ended up losing to France 2-0.
I got to watch that game at least.
Well,
I watched it on recording, but I watched it.
Not much to look forward to for the Germans, but we'll break that down as well as the Portugal-Wales game. Portugal coming out on top 2-0 in that game as well. So,
hey, you don't say that.
And then we're also going to be talking about some of the hottest transfer rumors. We have some deals that were reported and then are now confirmed. We have some guys signing new deals with the same team as well, and then we have some rumors that are floating around the world with the summer transfer window now officially open until about September 1st, August 31st, depending on how you look at it. So,
sorry, I was getting a nice big stretching. Okay, well, let's get into the Euros.
So yeah, the Euros. Let's first off talk about our semifinal games. So we had Portugal against Wales. Portugal coming out on top 2-0, as we mentioned. Goals from Cristiano Ronaldo and Nani there in the 50 and 52nd minute. So right away at the start of the second half there, Portugal really dominated that game. I felt really bad for Wales because they did not have Aaron Ramsey in that game. You could say that Aaron Ramsey was probably the best performer for Wales in the whole entire tournament. When they have people like Gareth Bale, that's a lot of consideration there. That's a lot to take into.
That's saying a lot.
That Aaron Ramsey is their best player. So they did not have Aaron Ramsey because he did pick up 2 yellows in the tournament. Absolutely hate that rule. We talked about it on our last episode of the show. They need to somehow find a way to redo that yellow card accumulation rule. It's got to be redone. 2 yellows in 5 games, that's not realistic. That's going to happen for a lot of people. Maybe they stretch it to 3. Maybe they reset it after 2 or 3 games. They got to redo something there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Portugal dominate that game. 2-0, they win it. Then the next day we have France and Germany. I looked at that as really a Euro final in its own way. 2 great nations. We mentioned that Germany had the injuries to Mario Gomez and Sami Khedira, as well as they did have Mats Hummels, the center back, not playing because of yellow cards as well. So France come out on top 2-0.
Yeah, it's a frustrating game, man.
2 goals by Antoine Griezmann. He scores a penalty, and then he scores in the 72nd minute as well. So you watched the game, right? You said,
I did.
What did you think about the game? Obviously, you're not excited because you are a German fan and everything.
Germany dominated the first 25 minutes. Possession was like 80-20. Germany was just holding the ball. And it looked great. I was like, okay, I like where this is going. And then the France got that free kick, and everything was kind of downhill from there, Ben.
Okay, yeah, I did not get to watch the game. I was doing the shows here with Jeremiah for the baseball podcast, so I didn't get to watch the game, but I did see the highlights. Griezmann He ended up getting voted as the player of the tournament.
Yeah.
He also won the Golden Boot for the most goals. He had 6 goals. So good for Antoine Griezmann. But yeah,
I guess.
So France ended up beating Germany. I did think France would win because of those injuries and Matt Hummels being out. I'm sure that played a big part of the game because they had to rotate in new guys, sort of that uncomfortability. Khedira had played really all tournament. Mario Gomez was their best attacking option up front. Did not have him, so I did think that would play an effect for Germany, and I feel like it did.
Yeah, it really did. They lacked the same kind of. I mean, like I said, they handled the beginning of the game great. The beginning of the match was just solid. Like watching it, I was like, okay, all Germany needs is a chance because if they're playing like this throughout the game, they're in a good spot, and it just kind of flipped. It was weird. As soon as that free kick, they made that penalty. From there, it just flipped on its head, and it was unfortunate to see because I mean it was a great game. France did deserve to win that game. They did what they needed to do. They did what they needed to do when they needed to do it. So I mean, I'm not saying they got lucky or anything like that. They won that game. They did. It's just unfortunate to see, especially for a Germany fan, because they really did start. They came out of the gate hot in that game. So.
Yeah, unfortunately they did not get it done. And then we had the final on Sunday. We had Portugal against France. I thought that the winner of the French-German game would win the tournament, and unfortunately I was wrong because Portugal come out on top 1-0 over France. We have a goal from Eder in extra time. He scored in the 109th minute to give a 1-0 victory over the French, the home country French.
Yeah, they almost had a great tournament. I mean, they did have a great tournament, but they almost brought it home on home soil, which is what you always want to do when you head into a tournament like that. You want to bring it in, but if you're the home team, you want to win that much, more than you would, I guess, normally.
Yeah, you're playing literally in front of your whole entire nation. France had looked dominant the whole entire tournament.
Yeah.
Portugal, not so much. I find it really astonishing that Portugal were able to win this game because, if you look at how the group stage worked out, they got a draw in every single group stage game, so they had 3 points. In the old format for the Euros, they wouldn't have even advanced into the knockout round because they advanced as being one of the third-place teams with 3 points. So that's a new addition for this year's tournament. They wouldn't have even advanced, yet alone they come out and they win the whole tournament. I find that crazy.
Yeah, it's like when wildcard teams go to the Super Bowl, man. It's crazy to look at. But I mean, hey, look, they obviously they look smart now. The first year they do that, and then the team that happens to advance because of that wins. So.
I do not like that rule, though. I think if they're going to include 16 teams, then they shouldn't have a 24-team tournament. They should probably advance it to 32 teams. So I don't know if that's going to be the case. I'm not a big fan of the third-place rule, but Portugal is because they won the tournament as a third-place team.
Yeah.
I find it really interesting in the game as well that they did win the game basically without Cristiano Ronaldo. So Ronaldo gets injured in the 8th minute. He had a touch there, and then Dimitri Payet, he made a fair challenge. He won the ball, but he did bang knees with Payet, and Ronaldo definitely got the worst of that deal. He ended up going down. They had to call time. And then he continued on for a little bit, but then he went down multiple times, started crying. He realized, his tournament was over.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah, he had to leave the field in the 25th minute. So without Ronaldo, they're definitely their best player, one of the best 2 players in the whole world. They win the game even without Ronaldo. I find that astonishing.
Yeah, very impressive by them. And it's not like they still are arguably the best team in the world. So it's not like, once Ronaldo's gone, they have a bunch of scrubs on the pitch. They still have a pretty solid team. So, France had been dominant, and it's a long game. He happened to come out generally early, for a matter of fact. But, it's not like I'm impressed, but I'm not, surprised. Portugal's a great team,
Really, Portugal really did it this whole entire tournament and really leading up to the tournament in the qualification with their defense.
Yeah.
They only scored 11 goals through 7 qualifying games, and they won each game that they won by only 1 goal. You come into the tournament here, they get a 1-0 win over France, they get a 2-0 win over Wales in the semifinals there. They had to go to penalty kicks on one game. They ended up beating Croatia in the knockout round 1-0 right at the end there in extra time, a goal from Ricardo Quaresma with just a few minutes before the game ends. So their manager, Fernando Santos, really changed their demeanor going into this tournament, basically saying, okay, this is how they played the game on Sunday, basically saying, okay, we're going to give you the ball. we're going to play the best defense you've ever seen, and we're going to strike on the counter. We're going to take our few chances we have, and we're going to convert them. And that's what happened on Sunday. France totally dominated the game. The first 5-10 minutes, they were aggressive. They were pressing high up the pitch. Really had a few chances there. Griezmann had a Robin Van Persie World Cup-esque header that was saved by Rui Patricio. Rui Patricio had a great game. I would say he was my man of the match, along with Pepe for the game. But he had a great save. He made a ton of great saves in the whole game. One on Olivier Giroud that they almost scored there at the end of the game. So I think he's probably my man of the match. But they played exceptional defense, and they basically said, okay, we're going to give you the ball. We're going to try and just convert on the few chances we have and basically stop you. Pepe, he's definitely in my team of the tournament as a center back. He's definitely one of the winners. Really impressive. Probably Portugal's best player along with Ronaldo.
Yeah, that's what I mean is Ronaldo goes down. You have so many, very good quality players. So I think that they were in a decent spot too.
Yeah, they did. They do have still some playmakers. Nani is very capable.
Yes.
Eder scored the goal there in extra time. Ricardo Quaresma came in for Ronaldo in the 25th minute there on the right side. Also, Renato Sanchez, he was named the young player of the tournament, just 18 years old. He's a central midfielder, recently signed for Bayern Munich, so that tells you what they think of him.
Yeah.
So he had a great tournament as well. He scored a goal there in the game against Poland to equalize there in the semifinal. Not the semifinal, the quarterfinal, I'm sorry.
Quarterfinal.
So he definitely had a good tournament as well. I'm just surprised that they did it without Ronaldo, because if you look at Portugal, if they need someone, it's going to be Ronaldo doing it,
Yeah.
So I find that really interesting.
But a lot of that this year a lot of the Euros, wasn't Ronaldo. He had a very slow start to the tournament.
Yeah, he did not get a goal until the third game against Hungary. He ended up getting 2 there. He ended up with 3 goals, had a goal against Wales, and then the 2 against Hungary. So definitely Portugal's leading goal scorer of the tournament. I find it interesting that this was Portugal's first ever major tournament victory. Like the first time hoisting the cup. Portugal, they've had so many legends of the game. People like Paulo Freire, Luis Figo, Rui Costa, Deco. I mean, the list goes on and on. They had Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. So they had so many legends of the game. This is the first time they finally won a major tournament. Definitely great for Cristiano Ronaldo. Unfortunately, he could not be on the field to help his team. But he was on the sidelines basically being a coach after he came back out after getting treatment for his knee. But then he hoisted the trophy because he's a team's captain. So
yeah, he did.
Definitely good for Cristiano Ronaldo, for the country of Portugal. I'm happy for them. It was a great tournament, great game, and that's all I really got to say. I mean,
no, I'm sad it's over. It was a great.
I'm so sad it's over. It was a great tournament. Yeah. So many great players, great teams. We're going to get into our next segment here after our break. We're going to get into our winners and losers of Euro 2016. So we're going to take our break here at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast, and we'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we are back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. What are you doing?
I was six shooting it.
Did you hit the wall? You were like putting the foam back in.
Yeah, I'm just retouching the foam on the wall.
Oh, goodness. All right, so we're going to move into our winners and losers of the tournament. Alex, what do you have for some winners and losers?
Well, the most notable one, I would say, I'm not going to get huge into France. I think France is a winner in this sense because they came in and they really showed up for a tournament on their home soil. So that's pretty much about as much as I'll say for France. I think that they had a good tournament. They were obviously right in it to the very end there in the final match. So I think of them as quite the winner. I think my winner and everyone's winner in this would be Iceland. Iceland, having never won a international tournament before.
Never even being in one.
Never even been in one. Not very notable when it comes to sports in the world. And they come in the tournament, and they start with a win against England. They come and they beat the Republic of Ireland. They played some great games, some really interesting soccer. And it was unfortunate to see them end up losing.
Well, they were really outmatched by France.
I'm sorry, I was reading France. So they beat Iceland, and then they lost to France, unfortunately. But they had some good wins. They really did through the group stage at first, and then that win over England was really impressive.
That was definitely the biggest upset of the tournament.
Yeah,
maybe one of the biggest upsets in world football recently.
A while, yeah. And then, of course, I'm sorry, then they lost to Iceland. Iceland lost to France 5-2, and then the eventual runner-up. It's Iceland. As good as they were playing, there's not really any stopping France.
Yeah, just to get to the quarterfinal, the last 8, Iceland, they weren't even a team that was looked at to even get out of the group stage.
And they clearly
they finished ahead in the group above the winners of the tournament in Portugal. So I'm not saying they're a better team than Portugal, but that shows you what they're capable of.
Exactly, yeah. They had a great group stage, and then starting off with that upset over England, it was just very, very impressive on their end. And then, of course, they ended up losing to France, but they got home and got a hero's welcome. This is the first time that they've been relevant in soccer, maybe ever.
Ever. I'd say ever.
So I think it was big for them moving forward. I look at it almost as a Leicester City kind of thing. They're relevant now, so it's really where are you going to go with it now from here? Coming up on the Olympics, we'll see what they can do. If they can build off of this traction of some good soccer, some good international games. So it'd be interesting to see what goes on there.
Okay, so a couple of quick winners I have. You mentioned a lot of them. I think Iceland is definitely the big winner here.
Yeah.
A quick winner is obvious. This is an obvious one, but Portugal, they did win the tournament. But I'm going to dive in more of that. It's not just about Portugal winning it. They have a lot of players that really impress me. Pepe surprised me so much because you look at Pepe, he's really known for his aggressiveness, kind of a dirty player, flops a lot, but he had a great tournament. Definitely, I think the best center back in this tournament was Pepe. I really liked what I saw from Renato Sanchez, the 18-year-old, just moving over to Bayern Munich. He's really going to be the future star of this Portugal team once Cristiano Ronaldo eventually hangs up the cleats, because he's getting up there in age. He's like 31,
32, I think.
So Renato Sanchez at 18 years old really, really impressed me. And then Fernando Santos, the manager, the way he sort of formed this team, had their mindset really defensive base, kind of like Atletico Madrid are in Spain, really defensive base, and really said, okay, we're going to win 1-0 games. It might look really not entertaining. People might not like to see it, but that's what we're going to do. And then they ended up winning the whole tournament. So for me, that's a big winner. You mentioned France being a winner. I agree with that. The big winner for me is Antoine Griezmann.
Yeah.
Ended up being player of the tournament. He scored 6 goals, Golden Boot winner. Building off a great season that he had at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, he did have a really good year.
While he was a winner, I'm going to say in the same side, he was a loser.
Okay, I thought you were going to say somebody else was a loser.
No.
Why else was he a loser?
I'm going to say he's a loser because
why was he a loser?
I feel gutted for him. Okay?
Oh, okay.
He ends up losing the Champions League final with Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
And then he goes just a month later and loses the
runner-up
Euro League final, the Euro 2016 European Championship final. Loses it to Ronaldo and Pepe both times.
Again.
I feel gutted for Griezmann. I feel bad for the kid. Well, he's not a kid. He's old. I feel bad for Antoine Griezmann. Just, he had a chance there in the final against Portugal. He had a clear header, he just grazed it over the bar. He had another header that was saved by Rui Patricio in the first half. So he had his chances. I'm not going to put the blame on Griezmann because he was by far France's best player. But I mean, He loses in the Champions League final, and then he loses in the European Championship final just a couple months later. So I feel bad.
And he loses by being on your losers list.
He's a loser. He's just a loser for that. But great tournament. He's a winner. Guy. Another quick winner I have a couple of them. One is Wales, the country.
Yeah.
Get to the semifinal. I feel bad for them because they did not have Aaron Ramsey for that semifinal game. I think that was a huge loss. But
against
just
Northern
Wales.
Ireland.
Yeah. No, against against Portugal.
I'm sorry, they won against
Yeah.
against
Yeah,
Portugal.
so I feel bad for Wales. They didn't have Aaron Ramsey. Still a great tournament. It's their first major tournament in over 50 years. They have a bright future with people like Ramsey and Gareth Bale.
If I didn't know you would have picked them, or excuse me, I knew you would have picked them, so I would have if I didn't already know you were going to.
Yeah, so I feel really good for Wales. They had a great tournament. Just getting to the semifinal was a big accomplishment for them. Another one I have is Italy.
Yeah,
I
they
thought
had
Italy had a
tournament.
great tournament. They ended up losing in the quarterfinal to Germany. They lost in penalty kicks.
It's a great game.
I felt like they were really an impressive team, a team I did not see going as far as they did. I think they would probably lose to Spain in that round of 16 game, but they ended up beating Spain 2-0. The thing that impressed me so much about Italy was their defense. People like Leonardo Bonucci, another great center back. He's probably one of the best center backs in the tournament as well. They have a great leader in Gigi Buffon there in goal. His last tournament there. I was really surprised with Italy. I thought they had a great tournament. And leading into that is Antonio Conte, the Italian manager. He's moving over to Chelsea now, starting into the Premier League. Bouncing over to Chelsea in the Premier League. So maybe he can build on that success with the Italian national team and sort of their tactics and throw them into Stamford Bridge there with Chelsea. So he's another one of my winners.
Okay, I like it. I like your choices. We can end there if you'd like.
I want to go to my losers real quick. I'll make it quick. Don't worry. I'll make it quick.
Fine.
So losers, definitely I have two of them that stand out for me. One is England.
Yes,
a terrible
England
terrible tournament. End up losing to Iceland in that round of 16 game. Roy Hodgson, Harry Kane, Wayne Rooney, Raheem Sterling, they're all losers.
Not great.
England is a loser.
Not great goalie play throughout the tournament.
Not at all.
At all.
No. And then my other loser, unfortunately for you, Alex, is Thomas Muller. He did not score in this tournament.
Just stop. You're a loser.
He was one of the leaders to the German team in the World Cup. He's got 10 World Cup goals, but in 2 Euros he hasn't even scored. So he was a big loser for me. He could not get it done for the Germans. No goals in the tournament.
I'm not listening to you. I don't like you.
So yeah, those are just a few of my losers, but
You're a loser.
I'll stop it there.
Deal. Oh man, why are you gonna hurt me like that?
I'm sorry, but the truth hurts sometimes. But
Truth has hurt. Well, hey Ben, the truth is we're gonna take one last break, and then we're gonna get into our last news of the day, some transfer rumors, some hot rumors out there on the docket. So be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Here at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. Jordan and Keith is Entertainment Tonight meets Access Hollywood.
I'm Jordan. The guy laughing, that's Keith.
Yeah, I'm Keith.
An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Man, that just ends. It's just done. It's like when you have a balloon with air in it, and then it just goes away. It's almost kind of saddening, you know?
it just stops.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? Hey, Ben.
What's up?
You want to talk about some transfer rumors with me?
I would love to talk about some transfer rumors with you. It's always an exciting time. Rumors are, obviously you can take them sometimes with a grain of salt, but sometimes there's definitely a lot of truth in the matter there. So
Sometimes with a whole thing of salt. Well, let's talk about my favorite squad from the Premier League. That would be Manchester United, the new manager, Jose Mourinho, and the rumor that they might be bringing Paul Pogba to Old Trafford.
that would be absolutely incredible. So United have already done a number of moves. They already made 3 moves. Some of the big ones, we mentioned it a lot, and of course you know them by now. Zlatan Ibrahimovic comes over from PSG. They bring in Henrik Mkhitaryan. He's a right winger from Borussia Dortmund coming over to Old Trafford, Manchester United. I think that's a great move. He's a good, exciting player. They also added Eric Bailly. He's a defender formerly in the Spanish league there. So he's going to help them probably go alongside Chris Smalling there at a center back pairing. The last move, though, could possibly be the most impactful. Paul Pogba. Rumor is that Manchester United are preparing a £100 million bid for the French midfielder. There's rumors that
That's quite a bid.
There's rumors that they might even throw in a player or two, possibly someone like Juan Mata, maybe Bastian Schweinsteiger, Alex.
It's okay. I'll still love him.
You still love
Yeah.
Bastian Schweinsteiger?
I don't care where he goes to play. I'll still love him.
Yeah, so there's rumors that he might be going there. He was formerly of Manchester United. Interesting to see if he'll go back. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on the fact that a lot
Sorry.
of people, especially coming away from the Euro this year, think Pogba's kind of overrated?
Well, Pogba didn't have a great Euro. He did have a goal there against Iceland in the quarterfinal game.
A lot of people consider it flashes more so than just consecutive and consistent, production.
I don't think he's overrated. I think he's one of the best midfielders in the world. He is really young, too. He's only 23 years old. I think $100 million price value is overrated, but not his overall talent. Real Madrid were also in the mix for Pogba, but they have opted to back out due to money issues. £100 million is a lot. That'd be almost like 120 million euros. So they all have decided to back out. So now it's really up to Pogba. Is he going to stay at Juventus, the Italian champions, or is he going to go to Manchester United again? I mean, if he goes to Manchester United, I think on paper they would probably have the best squad in the Premier League.
And it hurts because they're not even in the show this year.
They're not even in the Champions League.
Yeah.
But because you add Ibrahimovic, while though he is aging up there, and 34 years old, he's still one of the best strikers in the world. You add Henrik Mkhitaryan on that right side, can provide a lot of good passing. He's a great passer in the final third. You have Anthony Martial on the left side. You have, obviously, Wayne Rooney still. Marcus Rashford can learn a lot from Wayne Rooney. And then you throw in Paul Pogba in that midfield. You have a guy that can play box-to-box, really dominate the game.
Yeah, and what I'm excited about, too, being a fan of Manchester United, is this isn't like when they went out and signed Van Persie, where he was just him. They're actually they're bringing a lot of guys in at the same time, with the core group that they already had existing there, They're not just bringing in one guy to have one guy in Wayne Rooney. They have Rooney now, and they have Ibrahimovic, and if they bring in Pogba, and then they have good young players throughout the team, That's something that at least is refreshing in that sense,
Yeah, the interesting thing here with the Pogba to United case is that Paul Pogba's agent also represents Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Henrik Mkhitaryan. So he already has that Manchester United transferring over this summer route base there where he maybe can sway Pogba to go to Old Trafford, or maybe he already has those connections.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So I really think it's up to just Pogba now. Rumors are that he's really happy at Juventus. They are going to offer him a new contract. He's definitely the hottest name out there on the market. Rumor is the thing is he going to go or not? So we'll have to always update you here at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast, and we'll have to wait and see. But if he goes to Manchester United, I feel like they're definitely on paper the best team in the Premier League right now.
I agree
with Jose Mourinho coming in with his tactics and everything, he's obviously won the Premier League before with Chelsea. So, I mean, that could be really, really nasty.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see it personally.
Well, yeah, of course, you're a Manchester United fan. So,
well, moving on from a lot of these transfer rumors are actually staying in the Premier League. Moving on from Manchester United to Chelsea, and what have you seen about them possibly going and getting Leicester City midfielder N'Golo Kante?
Well, N'Golo Kante is rumored to maybe go to Chelsea. Supposedly, he does want the move. They're still trying to work out whether or not they can sign him. He would probably cost a lot. I think he was Leicester City's best player last year, a guy that really just reminds me of an Energizer Bunny. He is always running. He seems to never be tired, never slow down. Really a rock in that midfield for Leicester City. They are keeping Jamie Vardy. He is staying at Leicester City and not going to Arsenal. Riyad Mahrez looks like he's going to stay as well. He was the player of the year in the Premier League last year. So if they can keep N'Golo Kante, they're keeping a lot of great pieces at Leicester City. They can maybe build for maybe another championship run. But if N'Golo Kante leaves and goes to Chelsea, I think this hurts Leicester City so much more than just one player, because he was really, like I said, in that midfield, he was everything for them. Yeah,
so far you have an offer of $35 million from the Shanghai team, but Conte is not very keen on moving to China, he says. PSG had quite an interest in Conte before reports recently cooled down after it replaced Laurent Blanc with Emery. But Chelsea has pretty much been around most of the talk. I would say I see him either going to Chelsea or staying with Leicester City.
Yeah, I think those are definitely the two teams involved in N'Golo Kante most.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that. I haven't seen an asking price, but it might be somewhat similar to some of the deals that we've seen this year. We'll have to wait and see, to be honest. And then moving from what was my favorite team in the last one to Chelsea. No one cares about Chelsea. And moving to your favorite team, Arsenal.
Okay.
We have young German wonderkid Julian Draxler, who is both you and I are fans of. There's rumored to be maybe coming to Arsenal.
Yeah, so Julian Draxler, he was maybe looking at a move to Arsenal last summer. He was formerly of Schalke, but then he moved to...
That's a good name.
He moved to Wolfsburg, another German side, so he spent 1 year there in the Bundesliga side with Wolfsburg. But now it looks like Draxler is wanting to leave the club. Arsenal are like basically the front runners for Draxler right now. Perhaps a bid of around 50 million euros, somewhere around there. That's what it's going to take to bring Julian Draxler over. He's like a left midfielder, sometimes plays right midfielder. He played really well for the German national team. Ended up finishing in the semifinals there, losing to France. He had a goal and an assist in the game against Slovakia. Had about 14 take-ons. He created like over 6 chances for the German team this year, which was really so many players that could really do that. He stepped in that role where Marco Reus probably would have been playing for the Germans, and he really excelled there. The thing I like about Draxler is he's young. He's only 22 years old, so he's got a future. He's got a lot of potential, and he's a really great dribbler, really good with the ball, great with skill, can get by a lot of players. He's not going to put up a whole lot of flashy numbers. He's going to be a lot more of a consistent guy. So if you put him at Arsenal, you'd be pairing him with people like Alexis Sanchez and also a fellow German, Mesut Ozil. So if you pair them together, that could be something pretty dangerous for Arsenal. And also, if they are able to sign a striker in the summer, which hopefully they do. So I'll hope for Draxler and I'll hope for a striker. But yeah, so Julian Draxler, if he is on the go, he doesn't want to leave. Arsenal are the favorites right now.
Okay. Now, we move from more so rumors to some confirmations. I'll start with one thing that's not necessarily a confirmation but more of a extension is Willian. He has signed a new 4-year contract with Chelsea, tying him to the club until 2020. Since joining Chelsea for around $32 million back in the day, in 2013, the Brazilian international has won the Premier League and the League Cup and made 140 appearances, scoring 19 goals. So, staying around, sticking around.
The Brazilian Willian. Love it.
Oh, that's clever. I like that. Okay.
So Willian, I think, is a very good player. I really like him. He was voted basically the player of the year for Chelsea last year. Was almost like a wizard with his free kicks last year. He scored a number of free kick goals. The thing I like about Willian is he's not really flashy. He doesn't do anything incredibly well. He does everything pretty well. Okay. So he's going to be consistent, very consistent there. He signed a new 4-year deal till about 2020. He plays on the right side there, the right midfield, right winger role for Chelsea. Really quick, really good with the ball in his hands, not his hands, but on his feet. So I mean, he's a good player. He's really consistent.
And look at that hair on him.
Yeah, a little afro.
That thing's not little.
Sporting an afro.
That's pretty big.
He's sporting like an afro, not a little afro.
Okay.
Like he's got a little afro going. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, well, hey, what are some other confirmations here before we head out for?
So I got just a couple quick ones. This one was rumored a long time ago, but now Barcelona have officially announced it. That Samuel Umtiti, he is a French center back. French center back. He played in the final there against Portugal over the weekend.
Okay.
Really a good stand-up performer for the French side. He's really young. He had a good season in the French league for Lyon, and he's now moving to Barcelona.
Right, okay.
So he could possibly be a replacement for a guy like Javier Mascherano if he leaves. He's getting up there in age soon, so he'll probably retire soon as well, to go alongside a guy like Gerard Piqué right now. They also have Jeremy Mathieu, who's a French center back at Barcelona, so they have sort of that pairing there, country and club now. So Samuel Umtiti moving to Barcelona.
Okay. A little bit of confirmation I have here just to help you out here on this front. I don't know if it's something you had, but Joachim Löw is remaining as the Germany head coach for their bid to retain the World Cup in Russia in 2018. Obviously, he led them to the World Cup 2 years ago in Brazil. But after the Euros, his job's been kind of in speculation if it's...
he should stay. He's done a good job
He is, yeah. So as of right now, it is announced that he will be sticking through there till at least, another 2 years, if not more. So,
yeah, and real quick, Umtiti's deal is a 5-year deal. It was about 25 million euros.
Yes, sir.
And his release clause is at 60 million. So that means if someone wants to sign him, they're going to have to pay at least 60 million euros. For a center back, that'd be record breaking. So Umtiti looks like he's going to be staying at Barcelona for quite a while at least.
All right, man, I can dig it.
So then our last one here is Vincent Janssen. He's a Netherlands striker, a Dutch striker. He has completed a move to my arch rival, Tottenham Hotspur. So he scored 27 times in 34 appearances in the Dutch league last year.
Pretty good average.
Yeah, pretty good average. He's going to be playing really as a backup role primarily to Harry Kane. He's the striker there for Tottenham, the England national team striker. He won the Golden Boot last year in the Premier League, which is for the most goals. So he's definitely going to be the front man there. I think Vincent Janssen will be more of a backup, a guy who can maybe come in off the bench sometimes if they're down a goal, add another striker, or if they need to just give Harry Kane a rest day, they're going to move to Vincent Janssen. He had a goal in every 102 minutes on average. That's pretty good. That's almost a goal a game. Just, a little over 90 minutes there, 102. So he was the top scorer in the Dutch league. I mentioned 27 goals in 34 games.
Got it. All right, man. Well, that's that's pretty impressive, even if he is going to your arch nemesis. So
right, and they got him for somewhat of a cheap price. They paid 22 million euros. So that's like pretty high for a Dutch league player. The Dutch league is sort of looked at as, not in the top 5 Europe leagues, so it's not as high as some of the others, but still, like 22 million euros for a striker is pretty cheap. With the transfer market constantly going up year by year, teams are having to pay strikers like 40, 50, 60 million euros almost. So at 22 to get a guy who's capable of scoring goals, I think is a good move for Tottenham, although I hate to say it.
Well, hopefully it doesn't do that great against you.
Well, we'll have to see. Injury barring aside, will be Harry Kane playing for them. So.
Yeah. Okay. Any other news for me today and for the fans, for the people?
Just that we love everyone listening, and we hope you enjoy every show.
That is true. I do hope that. Well, okay. Well, then on that note, Ben, we're going to go ahead and get out of here for the week. We're not back until Tuesday next week, guys. But when we come back on Tuesday, we're going to have all the great news for you. Of course, anything that we have popping up between now and then, you will hear about it. So, Ben, where can they find us on the interweb?
You can find us pretty much anywhere. You can find us primarily on our podcast network's website. It's gsmcpodcast.com. You can find the portfolio of all of our podcasts on there as well. There's a coming soon tab, so you can see all the podcasts that will be coming up in the future. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is gsmc_soccer. You can find us on YouTube. The GSMC Podcast Network has a YouTube page where every podcast is uploaded there.
Facebook.
We mentioned Twitter and Instagram, YouTube. You can hear us on things like Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes. That's a big one for us, iTunes. So
iTunes is our big one. It's our golden egg. It's our
is.
golden goose. It's our important one.
It's our important one.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to get out of here for the week, guys. Like we said, we will see you on Tuesday. Any soccer news that comes, of course, you can maybe check with our Twitter page as well. We will try to update that as often as we can.
Yeah, always. You can not have to wait for next week's episode. We'll just inform you then.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, as always, I'm Alex.
And I'm Ben.
And we will see you guys next week.
Have a good week, guys. Peace.